여러분, 안녕하세요. Good morning, everyone. So I'm Horace Li. Forgive me for very limited Korean speaking. So I'm from Open Infra Foundation. I'm the director of Open Infra Asia. So today I would really happy to be giving the opportunity to share with the whole Korean user group and everyone on the venue about our foundation's work and our community, what we're from, and what is the current situations that is going on, and what is our visions for the future. So I've thought maybe a lot of attendees on spot may have heard more or less of our foundation and where we've started from and what is our event. So last month, we just delivered our 22nd Open Infra Summit in Vancouver. So it's really have been a long journey since we first started our OpenStack Summit, and then nowadays we already have the 22nd one that was successfully delivered, and it's actually the third time we have been delivered the Open Infra Summit previously OpenStack Summit in Vancouver. And on the latest Open Infra Summit, the Korean user group actually has a very big and successful presence on the event. We have the first gold members from Korea that was joining our community and working on the open infrastructure innovations orchestral. So really congratulations, orchestral, to be our first gold member from Korea. At the same time, we also have a big presence, and we gathered the representatives from the user group all over the world to attend our summit and to recognize them to helping us to build up the global community to work together, collaborating on technology innovations. So the second picture was actually on the keynote stage that all of the representatives from all around the world that was celebrating together. And today, we're here for the Open Infra Community Celebration, and we're attending the Open Infra Days Korea, which also, this is the first time I know, like this is already the 10th year of the Open Infra Days Korea. So really, congratulations to all the organizers have been working for so long. We have been, Jimmy, which was my colleague, but Jimmy and I was in the Open Infra Days Korea last year when attending it. At the time, I really feel the vibes and the lively communities that in Korea that is really focused on the innovations about the open infrastructure. Okay, so based on that, I think probably a lot of people have know, like we are Open Infra Foundation, which stands for open infrastructure, and we reshaped from the OpenStack Foundation, which was the start of the first infrastructure open source software, which is OpenStack. So nowadays, we still would like to looking back a little bit and also to looking at the details of open infrastructure. What is the open infrastructure? So we want to looking at this word by words, which also means the core of the open infrastructure. So we started with open. So open is generally very easy to understand. Of course, like we all gather here for the open source event, so it must be some project that was written in open source under a certain level of open source license and providing the open source solutions. But actually, in the Open Infra Foundation and in the Open Infra community, we're not just developing the open source code and open source project. The whole community and the software was led by the four opens philosophy, which is the core of how we make the open source successful and make the project to be developed consistently. So like when OpenStack was firstly created, the design phase is also we delivered or executed openly. The whole project was governed in an open way, and the community was set up equally for anybody to access the code and to bring up their ideas to the project. That's how OpenStack was initially formed and developed. So those four opens, which means open source, open governance, open design, and open community, is leading all the spirit of the open infrastructure project to be developed and innovated moving on. And now let's look at the infrastructure. So easily to understand too, like infrastructure providing a very solid base for all the software to let the industry or the cloud computing to working on applications or services on. So for us, we definitely providing the open source solutions for infrastructure software. So that is actually the core of this community, and all this foundation was working on hardly on how we do. And based on the project, and initially when we started this journey, we found out like open infrastructure actually creating a very common space between application services and hardware that actually can be supporting both to enable more hardware diversities up to providing the services and applications creation. So this is actually the areas the community is focused on. Okay, then let's look back a little bit of where we started. So as you probably also know more or less of the history, OpenStack was created in 2010. At the time, open source is not as vivid or as dominated now, like nowadays. At the time, the proprietary software seems to still be very major force and being dominating the whole industry. And then at the time, a small group of people started to think of like maybe we can creating some open source or equally for anybody to access the source code and low cost maintenance and have consistently developed and basically equally to everybody. So then OpenStack project was consequently created, and we started our journey all of those years and making the OpenStack become one of the top active open source project nowadays. So based on the whole journey of creating the OpenStack, one of the things or the missions that the foundation and the community is really thinking about is how we're going to address and creating the open infrastructure software. And we decided, also based on all the feedback from the industry, we decided to creating the infrastructure that is actually for anyone to do anything and to be used anywhere. I will explain a bit later of all these three aspects. Like I mentioned, back to the open infrastructure, it all begins with the first project that we have been brought on, which is OpenStack. And with years of development, the OpenStack, of course, is getting more mature. It has more landing cases. It has been deployed all over the world in different regions, used majorly by private cloud. And then later on, now these years, we kind of find the OpenStack is more and more be used in public cloud as well. For example, like in Europe, the city network is also creating the public cloud services in Europe that is based on OpenStack. And then, with the project is getting more and more mature and modularized, we found out more infrastructure-related open source project was getting together. They want to work with each other, integrated with each other to provide a more thorough solutions for the infrastructure software like KVM, Ceph, CentOS, or Open vSwitch. Those kind of open source projects starting to together collaborating with OpenStack and creating a more complete infrastructure layer software for the industry. And with, of course, years going on, new projects is coming up, new demands, new requests, new innovations is coming up. You see more and more infrastructure layer software, especially open source software, has been merged in the market and it started to work together. Of course, one of them is Kubernetes, which is very successful nowadays. And we see like all of those infrastructure software starting to work closely with each other and provide a total solution. And today, a very good example is for the Korea community. You see today, we have Ceph, Kata containers, we have Kubernetes, we have OpenStack. That is all in this event. And people can basically getting together and exchange your ideas, sharing your thought about how you're going to use these different pieces of infrastructure software, but to work them, integrate together. So this event is actually also prove the point, like open infrastructure is key and it can be collaborate together. Okay, now let's look at what does it mean for anyone or do anything or anywhere. So it basically means anyone is everyone. Anything is everything, and anywhere means it can be used everywhere. Let's look at everyone. So taking OpenStack as example, so like how we started, when the first time when OpenStack was started, it's still like small, and they only have 150 community members that was sitting together, collaborating and developing code. And with the time going on, with this whole software is growing and developed, we now, the whole community is kind of reaching 110,000 community members that is currently in our community working together. It basically coming from different roles, not just developers, but any people that can contribute themselves into the community. So you see more and more people. The software is designed and is developed to be accessed by anyone. Anyone wants to access the code and want to deploy the solution, they can do it from the community. And also nowadays, the whole open infra community has been reaching more than 700 plus organizations that is working around our community, either users, vendors, hardware solution providers, etc. And besides the scale of reaching out the community and organizations and members, you can see also with years of the mature of OpenStack, it's getting more and more deployed and has been used globally, managing like 40 millions of cores of the computing force. So you can see basically more and more OpenStack is more and more used by anyone, which also means used by everyone. Not just looking at the landing cases or the user case and how many cores of computing network is managed by OpenStack. Simply looking at the contributor scale, like when it first started from 2010, there's only dozens of OpenStack developers are contributing to the project basically. But if you're looking at this year, nowadays, last year, nowadays, it has grown from dozens of developers to thousands of developers that is actually working on this project, maintaining the twice releases a year for rolling this OpenStack to be feature complete and getting more and more mature. So talking about the everyone that is involved in this project and that is using the project, we would like to see a bit of everything, like how this open infra project can be used. Again, when first time, I'll take OpenStack as example too, because it's where we started. So when the project is designed and is created, it's only like designed to target in two areas, which is one, the public cloud, which is by a rack space, and another one is in the research area that want to use OpenStack as infrastructure layer, and it was by NASA. But later on, with more and more companies noticed OpenStack and trying to get involved with it and bring more user cases and more ideas of it, nowadays you can see it's starting to expand into a lot of industries like gaming, governance, healthcare, IT, etc. All of those areas that was not originally thought or designed when OpenStack was firstly created. But nowadays, the new features has been coming in, and it basically has been proved. Actually, those industries all have those user cases that is currently using OpenStack. So it's proved to be able to expand into multiple user cases and being used by various industries. I have talked a lot about OpenStack for now, but I really want to emphasize about another project which is also emerging nowadays is Kata Containers. Kata Containers is a secure container solution which is also under Under OpenInfra Foundation, it was firstly created jointly by Ant Group and by Intel. And then later on, it was entering the foundation, and nowadays, with these years of development, it's becoming a very mature ecosystem or platform, infrastructure platform for secure container solutions. So nowadays, like not only Ant Group is one of the big users for Kata containers for sure. You can find like basically Ant Group has been integrating Kata containers into their payment system that is serving 1 billion users all around the world for their online payment system. But also, Microsoft recently announced like they have been integrating Kata containers into their Microsoft Azure Kubernetes services, which is another giant case is like to prove Kata containers is actually capable to work in a certain area, especially in a cloud native area too. And you can see Microsoft basically use Kata containers to provide confidential container scenario, especially to run the multi-tenant workload. So it all happening this year, basically starting from last year, but we see the emerging and fast growth this year and more, like Microsoft is starting to contribute into the project, planning to start to contribute too, and we see the next release of Kata containers is on the plan too. And also this year, I'm really happy to invite a key upstream maintainers from Ant Group that is coming to this event, and he will give a Kata containers session in this afternoon, 5 p.m. I think it was on track 2. So I highly recommend it, everyone. Today, if you had time, you can go to the Kata container sessions and talk to Fupan Li, who is the main key developers from the upstream that understand or learn about Kata and also share your thought about Kata. Like again, to just summarize it, currently the open infrastructure software is used anywhere. So like it's basically coming into people's daily life. For example, when you're doing a gaming, you don't probably know like behind the gaming, the servers is actually running OpenStack that is supporting your gaming experience. When you're driving a car, you probably not aware of like when the car is coming into the manufacturing and the whole software testing for car security is gated or managed by Azure software. And when you do the online payment daily and you won't notice, like Kata containers, the software is actually running behind to provide the secure environment for safety of the payment. And when you're connected or chatting to your friends, you probably won't notice like Starling X may be behind it and providing the edge computing solutions for the telco providers. Talking about everything and talking about this whole user cases, landscapes for the open infrastructure software, so we wonder, where will the open infra go tomorrow? What else use cases that we can create it for supporting this whole open infra? So now this year, again, like you probably all noticed, like technology has been evolving very fastly. New use cases coming out, new hardware is created, GPU, DPU, IPU, whatever, SmartNIC, and you see from the hardware, but also from the application service layer, you see the ChatGPT is becoming popular, AI is formed, more and more mature, is getting into our daily life. The request of developing AI or providing better service AI workloads are getting more and more important. So we do see, like in the common space in the middle, to providing either support the lower layer hardware or providing the support for the application or services. We do see, like from these two aspects, these 4 areas is coming into our visions, and this is also our focuses in this whole community to work our open infrastructure software to provide better support, including the security, privacy for sure, AI workloads, the environmental sustainability, which is also very hot and popular topic nowadays, and hardware integration for sure. We need to support more hardware and diverse hardware layers. And the last piece would be, it could be used everywhere, actually. Again, like taking OpenStack as an example, when we first started, there were 3 countries actually like deploy OpenStack and kind of use OpenStack as an infrastructure layer. And nowadays, again, with the maturity of the software and with OpenStack is rolling up, and now it's becoming a 182 countries that have been, you can find OpenStack in those areas. Just in short summary is truly open infrastructure, open infra is truly global, like everybody, like Korean user group is part of the global community, and we're reaching this scale. Like I won't emphasize again those numbers, but you can see from the screen is like we really touch out basically at most of the corner on the globe, so that is working on open infrastructure software and jointly collaborations. Those are the current achievements that the foundation and the community has been reaching out. But at the same time, I would say the world is changing fastly for sure. And nowadays, with pandemic, with regional intentions, you also see like there is a lot of challenges to continue the world collaboration as a whole. So I wouldn't say it wouldn't be collaborating as a whole, but also there are new requests or demand is emerging about regional collaborations. If you're looking at Europe, looking at Asia, it's all coming up with this similar request that we also learned from our community and from the partners that we are working with. So from the Vancouver Summit, the Open Infra Foundation formally announced, like we're going to set up the new regional hub, both in Europe and in Asia. We call it Open Infra Europe and Open Infra Asia. So I may spend some time to talk more about Open Infra Asia, because this is important and crucial for our community in Korea. First of all, the Open Infra Asia website has been alive, so the QR code is actually can guide you to the website. So if you want to learn more about the Open Infra Asia, you can find information from there. And by default, all of the Asia partners or members in Open Infra Foundation will be natively be the founding participant of Open Infra Asia. But it basically doesn't mean like only Asia companies is allowed to participate in this regional hub. So any international companies or companies in other regions who want to innovate or collaborate with Asia technology involvement or looking at the Asia market are very welcome to joining the Open Infra Asia as well as a participant. And also from the Vancouver Summit, we had the first Open Infra meeting. And again, like I really thanks the Open Infra Korea user group. We have a quite large representatives that was there and contributing their thought, what we are going to do for the next step of Open Infra Asia. So basically, people are really interested in this regional hub because regarding considering the time zone, considering the geographically convenience, people are easily to travel around in Asia, especially comparing with flying to Europe or flying to North America, staying in Asia, organizing event, and let the people to regularly meet up together to talk about innovations, especially to targeting the Asia market is very important. That we learned from the Open Infra meeting on the Vancouver Summit. And looking at the picture, basically from all over, like India and from, Indonesia, Thailand, all of this Asia region user groups representatives sitting together. Again, like I said, open infrastructure started with OpenStack, but we really see the mission and see the future of infrastructure software, the importance of infrastructure software to be in the whole solution for the cloud computing industry, so that we really hope like the open source solution can actually be used and be accessed by everyone and can do everything and can be used for any cases and then to be deployed or to be used everywhere. Again, this is our mission, and I hope everybody today could be, I really appreciate everybody today to attend this meeting or attend this event today, and I really hope to have the opportunity to work with everyone in the future to shape the future better. 감사합니다.